So you work across a lot of different areas at TripAdvisor or even before. How many like openings do you work on, I guess, at a time that are maybe like different from each other? And then how do you kind of create like a good process for yourself working with the different hiring teams? Do you ever like have to do pushback to any of these hiring managers? How do you create maybe like a job description? Like, what is your kind of process? I know you're super organized, and I think some people would love to see this organization coming from internal. Gosh, Fred.
Yeah, so it depends. There's been times when I've only had 1 or 2 openings that I'm working on, and then there's times when I've had 10 plus openings that I'm working on across different teams. And honestly, organization is the only way I keep my head on straight, and the only way that I'm not asking candidates like throwing out random buzzwords to try to remember which job I'm interviewing them for. But the way that I build those relationships and kind of have a smooth flowing process is open communication. And I'm a big fan of everything, if possible, in writing. So I do a kickoff call with every single one of my hiring managers, whether I've worked with them before or not, where we're going through the job description. We're talking about our list of must-haves and nice-to-haves. I try to limit those must-haves to 3, because as we all know, the perfect candidate does in fact not exist. And I'm going to go with like 90% of the time, the level that folks interview at, they could never pass their own interview process.
Word.
And so that's why I try to have some pretty strict guardrails. But I think the big part of every single stage when it comes to recruitment is actively listening to what people are saying and then adjusting yourself to meet the needs of that person. So listening to feedback, asking more questions about that feedback, talking through decisions, but having things in writing so that you have a single source of truth. So I have a kickoff template that I use, and I'm lucky with a company of the size of TripAdvisor, we actually have those job architectures that already exist. So we have a bank of job descriptions. But I have also been in scenarios where we've written them from scratch, and it's just a lot of research, but also trying to tie the job back into the specifics of the day-to-day of the position and the kind of ethos of the company itself. But organization, organize, write it down, and in my personal opinion, make it aesthetically pleasing.
Love that.
I love that too.
Can you talk about what we were saying before about when a new rec needs to be opened, like what that process is internally? Like, is it fight or flight kind of thing, or is there way more to it than we see?
So there is a lot to getting a position open. So by the time that you're seeing an active listing, that function and that role has probably been needed for at least 3 months, if not longer. So when you're getting these hiring managers and it's up, it's posted, we're actively interviewing, they are looking for a solution to a problem or to fill a talent gap that they have probably had for quite some time. So in a lot of ways, you're getting somebody who is being so specific and picky because they are looking for an answer to their most immediate and pressing needs. I also want to just say that, is that fair? No, but it's one of the realities that I think that we have to deal with when we're thinking about recruitment and hiring, is that your hiring manager is coming from a place of need, and they are looking for a fast fix. And it is the job of a recruiter in some ways to kind of get that hiring manager to take a step back, to look at that big picture and not just that immediate instant gratification from finding this unicorn of a candidate who's the savior to all your problems.
Yeah. Right. Are there any like certain types of questions for an interviewer to ask to see if they are like that solution, or to sort of like, how do they find out if it is the right role for them, but how do they kind of, what is a good question to ask, I guess, in an interview to make sure that they're going to maybe help solve it?
Yeah. So From a candidate perspective, I think that it's important to ask questions about past projects and future projects and goals and aspirations. One of the hardest things that we as recruiters do is have to reject candidates. And sometimes, actually, I'm going to go with most of the times, it doesn't mean that you're not qualified or knowledgeable or smart. It is that the projects that you chose to share don't necessarily align with the current or future projects that that team itself might be working on. So asking the questions about, I noticed that this happened recently, like you launched this new product. Is that what your team worked on? What were some of the things that the team needed to do? Were there any missing skill sets that you wish you'd had to get that over the finish line? So really understanding and taking it from a job title and a generalized function to specifically that company, that team, and then being able to pull examples and insights from your own experience that are going to align with the present and future needs of that team.
Mm-hmm.
Erin, I just wanted to interject with a question there. We spoke a lot about how, as recruiters, we all want our candidates to succeed, including internal recruiters. Like you are a gatekeeper, but you also, once you've made the investment in somebody and you've sent them on to the hiring manager, you want that person to set that person up for success. I just wanted to know, like, if you're the first person somebody's talking to and they're going to be doing a design review, are you open to a question of like, I have 3 great case studies and I know the team only wants to see 2. Is it okay for me to ask which I'm thinking of these 2, but I want to run this third idea by you. Do you think these 2 would be okay to present?
Absolutely. I try to give that information ahead of time, which I have gotten from the hiring manager, like specifically, what are you looking for in a case study? And then I tell my candidates, I'm here if you have any questions. So I'll send them the instructions that I try to have as much information in as possible, but they're always more than welcome to run stuff by me, and I'll do my very best to try to respond accordingly.
I like what we were talking about. We had a little warm-up session this morning to all get acquainted, the 4 of us, about how, we are like the recruiter, be it external recruiters like the 3 of us, or Erin, you being an internal recruiter, that we're all here to help. So I think having, and like we're here, like, we're a friendly source of information that, like, we want you to be successful, right?
Yeah.